Okay, so something I get asked a lot is why I want to leave the US, and there are quite a few reasons. But one just kind of shook me up, realizing how drastically different the US and France are. In the Place Monge metro station, these two guys, they grabbed a man and a woman and were going to attack them. And right away, before a single hit had a chance to land on them, over a dozen other people had jumped in to pull the attackers off of these two. And what sets that apart from what would happen in the US is that in the US, there'd be a really high chance that someone would have been shot or shanked because guns are that fucking prevalent in the US. I mean, today, we've got children who are leaving schools to go, rally against how easy it is right now to buy fucking assault rifles, ones that are made to be used in war zones. We can buy just by going into, your local neighborhood gun store. Weapons literally designed to be used in war. You can buy those so easy in the US, and they're everywhere. Every 2 to 3 days, there's another school shooting. We can't even send our kids to school without, fear they're going to get shot. I live in a good neighborhood. I own a house in a really good place in Washington, but yet I feel less safe in that good neighborhood than I do in what is considered to be, the bad areas of Paris at night. Because I know that the chance of being shot here is really fucking little. And look, in the US, it's not uncommon to know someone who's been shot at, okay? I've had to duck behind a car when someone decided to unload a magazine on me. Of course, I didn't get shot, but just, because I managed to get behind a car in time, but still, that's happened. And that's not the only time, I've stared down the barrel of a gun, unfortunately. I have seen someone shot in the head and killed. That's just a part of daily life in America, the guns everywhere, the violence. In Portland, last year, a man started yelling some stuff at these two teen girls. One was black and one had a headscarf. Why not black too, doesn't matter. Headscarf means Muslim in the US, so damn, that meant, time to start attacking these two 16-year-olds. 3 men jumped to their defense. Just 3 out of all the people around. 2 of those men died. The third one came within something like a millimeter of his jugular being hit. If that would have happened, he would have died. And we've got, hate crimes are on the rise. 47% over the last year. If you're not the right shade in the US, you're a target. If you look like, a lot of the people I've met here in the US would be targets, and some of them would have a hard time getting in the first place. If you're Iranian, good fucking luck getting in, because, we keep having these stupid anti-Muslim laws that presume that people from certain countries must be bad people. If you're, any shade of brown, doesn't matter, Moroccan, Tunisian, Mexican, Iranian, Spanish, whatever, you're at risk there. And we just passed some fucked up law where if you're an immigrant, even if you're there legally, even if you have permanent citizenship, my country can now detain you for an indefinite period of time while, quote unquote, verifying your immigration status. It used to be 6 months, and even that was too long because it shouldn't take that long to verify someone. On a daily basis, we're fighting for our basic civil rights. There's a lot of debate over whether or not I should be able to access birth control I want and need, and how much access there should be to it, how much bodily autonomy, that that I should have is being, debated and stripped down. And as it is, there are already a lot of medical decisions I'm not legally allowed to make that in a country like France is seen as, well, you're a woman, you and your body's a big deal. Whereas in the US, Bible. Gotta try to force us all to conform to the Bible. Florida just passed a measure to be putting biblical verses in public schools. Our public school system, by the way, is being dismantled because our Secretary of Education, who had never ever stepped foot on a public school property until getting the job, doesn't know the difference between proficiency and progress. And if you're not in the U.S., you don't really, know the daily, facts of life in the U.S. that affect us. You don't know about how our local police departments in the U.S. were able to buy military armor, military vehicles, military weapons, literally stuff that was made to be used in active war zones. And they're able to buy those now, and they've been able to for a while, and to use them against citizens. You can find videos all over YouTube about that. It's really fucked up. Our police are actually militarized at this point. I'm white and I don't feel safe when it comes to our police, and I'm the quote-unquote right race to not get shot. That hasn't stopped police, from still shooting innocent people, though. If you're any shade of brown, your chance of dying is pretty fucking high. There's so much wrong there that trying to put it all together, it's especially just thinking about it. No right to any time off if you're sick. In December 2009, or was it late November? Either way, a friend of mine, she had a baby on a Saturday night, and her next scheduled work shift was Monday. Her boss told her she did go back to work. She was going to be fired. So not even 48 hours after giving birth, she was back at work, because that's legal in the US. There are no federal protections. Some states mandate you be given, 6 weeks unpaid time off, but not a lot of people can really afford that. Getting any sort of vacation time at all is extremely rare. I only have this time because, I have a small business of my own. I can set my own schedule, and frankly, I charge a fortune per hour. So I'm privileged. I am straight up privileged. Just because I'm here does not mean that, most Americans can take, even a week and come here. And yeah, I'm here for a month, and then I'll be back in another month for a few more weeks. Yeah, I'm lucky. I know that I am. But most Americans, they'll save for years to be able to afford to come here for a single week, to be able to take the time off for a single week, cram everything in, go home, and they'll be there one trip of a lifetime. So, there's no time off, even if you're sick. Medical care is another disaster. We, for a while, had children, poor kids without health care, because the Republicans decided that they were going to use that as a political bargaining chip against Mexican immigrants who were brought to America as children. Basically, kick these dreamers, as they're known, kick them out of the country, or the poorest, sickest children are going to lose their medical care. And as it is for months, we had how many millions of poor children who could not see doctors, and that unfortunately included even children with cancer who could not get chemo. My country will literally let children die to try to kick brown people out of the country. It's just, I was asked what good there is in the U.S. There has to be something good. And as far as the country goes, no. There are some great people there, but the country itself is kind of a goner at this point. It's known fact that Russia did interfere in our last elections, and our Republicans are openly acknowledging there's nothing we can do to stop them from doing it again. Of course, they're the ones in charge, and the ones that Russia is interfering on the behalf of. But it's not just the Republicans that are fucked up. Our DNC, it turns out, and this is according to the former chairwoman, she is the one who admitted this. The DNC did fuck with our primaries to put Hillary in the Democratic seat, even though every poll done showed that Bernie Sanders would have mopped the floor with Donald Trump and that Trump would have won over Hillary, and that's what happened. So nothing is democratic. If it's not the DNC interfering on the behalf of a candidate who it turns out gave them millions of dollars, then it's, Russia interfering. I guess I should say Russia's government, because the people there aren't part of it, just like, I'm not part of what's going on with Trump. And then something called gerrymandering, which is where districts are, voting districts are drawn up in such a way that you can have an area with 30% Republicans, and still have, the Republican candidate win who otherwise would not have. That's something that you're gonna have to look up. GERRYMANDERING. There's really not a lot we can do, especially when the feds now are writing federal laws that are taking away our rights, with riders in them that bans state governments from trying to write laws protecting us. Like net neutrality has been revoked, which means that the internet companies can now decide what information we have access to. When that happens in other countries, it is seen as a horrible thing, but it's now, it's going to happen in America and my state, Washington. The governor has passed a law that any internet provider that wants to provide service in the state cannot do that. However, his law is illegal because the feds have, that ban on laws protecting citizens and making sure we have access to information. But yeah, it's really these days that it's a lost cause there. And when my first thought to seeing someone get attacked was, don't let anyone see me looking because, oh my God, what if I get shot next? And then I realized, wait, I'm not fucking in America. Chances of guns being here are very slim to none, but in the US that would have been something to worry about. You don't want to be caught looking because what if you get shot? That's just, it's daily life in the US. I had to get out. This trip here, this month here, was planned very, very short notice because I just couldn't handle it anymore there. I was frankly cracking up to the point that I was inconsolable because I couldn't handle the stress. Even if you try to avoid the news there, you can't. And I was talking to someone about 2 hours ago who told me that despite, how hard this last week has been on me, getting crushed and then finding out that my two best friends, former best friends at this point, literally tried to destroy my life. I'm still processing that one. I was told that I still look happier than I've looked in a long time, and that's pretty sad. Considering either one of those two events would have been enough to just take someone down instead. Despite both of those in the same week, I'm still happier on my worst days here than I am on my best days in the US. And really, that's why I want out. I've got to get out of the US. I can't. I'm going back there next week, even though it's for a month. I'm gonna be a fucking wreck that day because I just don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to a country where, where rights are privilege and can't do anything without, walk through a mall. You better find a place where you can hide if someone pulls out a gun, because in the US it's possible.